Nurhanis, and I will start with the introduction. Armenia is a landlocked nation located immediately south of the Caucasus mountain range. Armenia's neighbors to the north and east are Georgia and Azerbaijan, while its neighbors to the south and west are Iran and Turkey. Yerevan is the country's capital city. After declaring its independence on May 28, 1918, the former Russian Empire's portion of Armenia was attacked by Turkish and Soviet armies in 1920. Founded on November 29, 1920, the Soviet Republic of Armenia became a component republic of the Soviet Union in 1922. Armenia declared its sovereignty on August 23, 1990, and independence on September 23, 1991. Azerbaijan is a country in Transcaucasus eastern region. It is bordered by Russia on the north, the Caspian Sea on the east, Iran on the south, and Armenia on the west. Nagorno-Karabakh, a mainly Armenian enclave within Azerbaijan's border, was the point of the conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia from 1988 until 1992. Bakh is Azerbaijan's capital, and this country's economy is dominated by industry, and oil extraction has been complemented by other activities. It was a sovereign republic from 1918 and 1920 before being absorbed into the Soviet Union. As of September 23, 1989, Azerbaijan declared its sovereignty, and in August 1991, it declared its independence. So I will pass to the next presenter to present about the chronology.
My name is Nur Fatiha binti Azman, and I'll be explaining the chronology of the First War over Nagorno-Karabakh. The year of territorial dispute between Azerbaijan and Armenia began in February 1988 and ended in May 1994. The conflict began when Nagorno-Karabakh Soviet requested to be transferred to Armenian authority. Unfortunately, Azerbaijan resisted and organized protests in Nagorno-Karabakh and Yerevan that resulted in violence between Azeris and Armenians. In the late 1988, a major earthquake struck Armenia and killing 25,000 people, and 500,000 people are losing home. Besides that, shipments entering Armenia are still being blocked by Azerbaijan, and the Armenian workers are also being fired and removed from their homes in Azerbaijan. In 1989, Moscow interferes and begins to reclaim control of the region and exert direct administration over Nagorno-Karabakh and Baku. But then in November, Moscow handed over control of Nagorno-Karabakh to an Azeri council. Armenia tries to protest but no result. And then at the Congress of the Armenian Pan-National Movement in Yerevan, the Karabakh Committee is disbanded. Armenia declares Nagorno-Karabakh to be part of a united Armenian Republic in December 1989. In the next year, in 19 to 20 January 1990, a situation known as Black January, or also known as Black Saturday, happened. On that day, the Red Army of the Soviet Union in Baku attacked a group of Azerbaijanis who were demonstrating. In May 1990, Azerbaijani Communist government secures the legal justifications to intervene militarily in the Karabakh conflict. In April 1991, Azerbaijan declares independence from Moscow, but they did not consult with Moscow to guarantee that Soviet forces do not depart from difficult areas before Azerbaijan can organize a national guard. In September 1991, Armenia declares independence following a referendum on Armenian secession that supports its independence. In this year, Azerbaijan used an operation code named for May 1991 military operation known as Operation Ring. This operation was conceived by Soviet authorities in order to intimidate the Armenians. 1992 was when the fighting really intensified. Both sides accused each other for crimes against humanity. In January 1992, the Nagorno-Karabakh legislature declared the independence of the Republic of Mountainous Karabakh. And then, Armenia successfully opened Lakin Corridor, which refers to a mountain road that links Armenia and the enclave of Nagorno-Karabakh, which was under the control of Artsakh Defense Army. Later in May, Azerbaijan and Armenia negotiate a ceasefire agreement, but neither side adhered to it. The war continues while the CSCE, UN, United States, Russia and Iran try to arrange another ceasefire. So in August 1992, a new ceasefire was signed, and this time mediated by Kazakhstan. However, it also failed. And then the following month, another attempt at a ceasefire that was mediated by Russia also failed to be observed. In February 1993, the chairman of the State Defense Committee of Karabakh met with Armenian authorities in Yerevan to discuss the upcoming CSCE negotiations. Later then, in May 1993, the CSCE proposal was accepted by both, but then was broken when the Azerbaijani Foreign Ministry said that the person who negotiated the ceasefire did that without authorization. In early 1994, the war between Azerbaijan and Armenia still continued. Ceasefires are agreed to several times but are continually violated by both sides. But then, in May 1994, a ceasefire negotiated by Russia was signed that led to diplomatic mediation. Although they have signed a ceasefire, a sporadic fighting continued in some parts of the region, but all sides are vowed to abide by the terms of the ceasefire. Thank you. That's all for me. I will pass to Nurhanis to explain about the second war, which is on 2020.
Now I will proceed to explain about Azerbaijan-Armenia Nagorno-Karabakh conflict in 2020. Nagorno-Karabakh has been a frozen conflict for more than a decade, but artillery, shelling and minor skirmishes between Armenian and Azerbaijani troops have caused hundreds of deaths. Early April 2016 witnessed the most intense fighting since 1994, killing dozens and resulting in more than 300 casualties. After 4 days of fighting, the two sides announced that they had agreed on a new ceasefire. However, a breakdown in talks was followed by repeated ceasefire violations, and tensions have remained high. Negotiation and mediation efforts, primarily led by Minsk Group, have failed to produce a permanent solution to the conflict. The Minsk Group, a mediation effort led by the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe (OSCE), was created in 1994 to address the disputes and is co-chaired by the US, France, and Russia. The co-chairs organize these two countries and hold individuals meeting. The group has successfully negotiated ceasefire, but the territorial issue is hard to control. In October 2017, the president of Armenia and Azerbaijan met in Geneva under the auspices of the Minsk Group, beginning a series of talks on a possible settlement of the conflict. However, talks have yet to produce concrete results because Azerbaijan and ethnic Armenian military forces are positioned close to each other and have a little communication. There is a high risk an inadvertent military action could lead to an escalation of the conflict. The two sides also have domestic political interests that could cause their respective leaders to launch an attack. This time, the conflict was different, analysts and former diplomats said, because Turkey had offered more direct support to Azerbaijan and because of the scale of the fighting. Azerbaijan used sophisticated attack drones and both sides used powerful long-range rocket artillery. The ceasefire agreement reached on 9 November. The deal was broke by Russia, and the next day, Russian peacekeepers began deploying to the conflict zone to guard and assess roads and oversee the handover of land. Azerbaijan has insisted it has a right to invite Turkish peacekeepers as well, raising the possibility that the two countries' soldiers will operate in proximity along a tense front line. Cities in Azerbaijan, Nagorno-Karabakh, and Armenia have been hit by long-range weaponry fired by combatants on both sides. The capital of Nagorno-Karabakh, Stepanakert, has been repeatedly bombarded. Azerbaijan accused Armenia of firing rockets at the country's second-largest city, which is Ganja, and at the hydroelectric station, suggesting an effort to destroy civilian infrastructure, risking an escalation to direct conflict between the countries outside the separatist region of Nagorno-Karabakh. Fighting came to end in November when both sides agreed to sign a Russian broker peace deal. Under its term, Azerbaijan holds on the several areas that it gained control of during the conflict, and Armenia will withdraw troops from them. Almost 2,000 Russian peacekeepers will monitor the troops. So I will pass to the next presenter to present about the analysis.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Ilham Fahim. I will explain the analysis part. So I will start with the causes. So the main cause of the Azerbaijan issue is regional disputes, which is Nagorno-Karabakh. Conflict started when the management of Nagorno-Karabakh region was handed over to Armenia. Okay. According to the map, Nagorno-Karabakh is originally part of Azerbaijan, but its population is majority Armenian. conflict rises in 1988 after the Armenian population of Nagorno-Karabakh sought to transfer jurisdiction of the region to Soviet Armenia. Soviet authorities declined to redraw the borders, but the effort and ensuing mass mobilization and violent clashes sparked conflict between the Armenian in Nagorno-Karabakh, supported by Armenia and Azerbaijan. The conflict further escalated in 1991 as the Soviet government sought to counter moves toward independence by Armenia and Azerbaijan. Armenian in Nagorno-Karabakh declared independence from Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan abolished Nagorno-Karabakh's autonomous status. Okay, to relate with the international relation theories, both Azerbaijan and Armenia are clearly explained as liberalism countries because it emphasizes interdependence between states. Liberals always have a positive view of human nature and also believe in power of human reason. According to the CRS, Congressional Research Service, in 1993, the United Nations Security Council passed for resolutions concerning the Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict. The resolution called for the withdrawal of occupying forces from recently occupied areas of Azerbaijan. From the statement, we know that they really hate war. War is one of the most serious problems in the international system. On top of that, Republican liberalism is promoting democratic peace, which only have two different types of state in international system, which are democracies and non-democracies. Republican liberal claim liberal democracies are more peaceful than other types of political system and strongly argue that democracies do not fight each other. For example, currently the number of democracies in the world is increasing, and if democratic peace theory is correct, this suggests that the number of conflicts will reduce. I will pass to the next presenter.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Sabrina. I'll be explaining about the aftermath of Azerbaijani and Armenian war over Nagorno-Karabakh. After 3 failed ceasefires, a peace accord negotiated by Russia and signed on November 9 brought an end to the conflict that killed hundreds. The agreement enabled Azerbaijan to maintain some of the land it had taken while requiring Armenia to hand up others. President of Russia, President of Azerbaijan, and Prime Minister of Armenia signed a ceasefire agreement that required Armenia's army to leave Nagorno-Karabakh and be replaced by Russian soldiers. The agreement provided Azerbaijan with most of what it had been negotiating for years. Armenia agreed to create a transit corridor for Azerbaijan via Armenia to the Azerbaijani province of Nakhichevan in exchange for removing its soldiers from the enclave. It also made Armenia extremely reliant on Russia for security, jeopardizing the country's independence. Protests occurred almost immediately in Armenia, with many voicing their displeasure with the agreement and also questioning whether the administration that negotiated it could stay in power long enough to implement it. The agreement also secured Turkey's place in the area for a more aggressive Turkey. Turkish military officials will now work with Azerbaijan at a peacekeeping command center. Azerbaijan won the war with Turkey's diplomatic and military assistance, solidifying Turkey's position as a crucial ally in Azerbaijan and possibly in former Soviet republics in Central Asia, where Turkic languages are spoken, such as Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. In total, the deal means Azerbaijan is the clear victor in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, whereas Armenia is left reeling and in political turmoil, and Russia and Turkey both enhance their presence as influence in the region.
Moving on to the solution part, since 2007, the co-chairs of the Minsk group have focused their efforts on 6 basic principles for the peaceful settlement of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. So what is the Minsk group? The Minsk group is founded in 1994 by numerous nations under the auspices of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, with the United States, France and Russia serving as co-chair countries. Okay, the 6 basic principles include return of the territory surrounding Nagorno-Karabakh to Azerbaijan control. Second is give an interim status for Nagorno-Karabakh, providing guarantees for security and self-governance. Third is there must be a corridor linking between Armenia to Nagorno-Karabakh. On top of that, future determination of the final legal status of Nagorno-Karabakh through a legally binding expression of popular will. Furthermore, the right of all internally displaced persons and refugees to return to their former places of residence. And lastly is Nagorno-Karabakh must provided with international security guarantees that will include a peacekeeping operation. And Sabrina will explain after the 2018 solution. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the solution after the year of 2020. Azerbaijan's president, Armenia's prime minister, and also Russia's president released a joint statement on November 9, 2020, which was reported to as a ceasefire or peace treaty by many media organizations. The November 9 deal would prolong significant territorial gains for Azerbaijan while simultaneously maintaining security for Armenian government over a smaller portion of Nagorno-Karabakh. The agreement consists of 7 points, which are as following. Firstly is deployment of almost 2,000 Russian peacekeepers to the conflict zone. The second one is establishment of a peacekeeping headquarters to supervise the ceasefire. The third one is return of regions around Nagorno-Karabakh to Azerbaijani's control. The fourth one is Armenian forces are being evacuated from the region. The fifth one is the preservation of a land corridor connecting Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh. The sixth one is internally displaced individual and refugees returning home. And the last one is construction of a land transportation route between the Azerbaijanis mainland with the Azerbaijanis exclave of Nakhichevan via Armenia. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter to conclude. Thank you.
Okay, as a conclusion for this conflict, the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is an ethnic and territorial dispute between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the dispute region of Nagorno-Karabakh, which is mostly inhabited by ethnic Armenian and 7 surrounding districts, which were mostly inhabited by ethnic Azerbaijanis until their displacement during the Nagorno-Karabakh War. The war has been around since the 20th century, but it was reignited in 1988 when Karabakh Armenian requested that the region can be transferred from Soviet Azerbaijan to Soviet Armenia. In the early 1990s, the conflict erupted into a full-scale war, which was then turned into low-intensity conflict after the war ended, until rising into another full-scale war in 2020. Both Azerbaijan and Armenia are clearly defined as liberalism nations in international theories, since it stresses interdependence between states. They also reduced the utility of armed force. Until 2020 conflict, a 4-day escalation in April 2016 was the worst agreement violation. On 10 November 2020, the combat came to end with a ceasefire deal that saw Azerbaijan reclaim the majority of territory it had lost during the first Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. At last, Azerbaijan President Ilham Aliyev has declared the fighting to be over. With that, thank you.